As you predicted, Raz, Game 3 is upon us for Team WE and their hometown of Xi'an in front of the hometown crowd. And hopefully we'll get the chance to close that match out nice and quick because, again, to our reminder to our viewers back at home, the next set, OMG versus FPX, we will be taking off of a delay. So if you want to see that live on the Chinese stream, you can head over to lpl.qq.com, Douyu or panda.tv to find those separate streams. But if you do want to get that English coverage, you don't have to go anywhere. We'll jump right into that as soon as we finish WE versus TOP. So let's get to it then, Raz. Who's taking this one? WE, they showed us a strong performance in Game 1, but then fell asleep, I presume, in Game 2?
I thought it was going to be a lot more competitive set. Felt like the outward aggression in the mid lane jungle duo of Korn and XX is what decided this one. Chocho played far better than he did in Game 1, where I heavily criticized him. So, answer your question, I'm liking TOP thus far. Ooh. Momentum is on their end. They are just a better, I'd say, well-structured team this split. So it's a safe bet to say TOP.
Now, WE have only gotten to bow in front of their fans twice so far out of 13 matches. This is a team that really could use some victory momentum in front of the hometown fans, especially considering that 4 of these players were Worlds semi-finalists just last year. Hopefully they can recover and show us some growth in this series because, again, when they have the momentum, when they have the tempo coming out of Game 1 as we saw, they're able to set the pace of the game. They showed us decisive play. They showed us that it's in there somewhere. Like digging for gold. You have to filter through everything else to get to those golden nougats. Whereas TOP, they seem to be a little bit more consistent than Team WE.
Yeah, throughout the split, definitely can just check the history of the team and you know that it's there. I'd say for WE, most teams should rely on the fact that they have an early game lead, should be able to cover it. Only the worst teams can't achieve that. WE, right now, one of the worst teams of this league. So for WE to come back to a point, if they find a deficit, to not just fall through as they did here. I mean, you're framing them, I mean, we both were framing them, as a team that loses elegantly. That was the least elegant loss.
They used to be a team that loses elegantly. Now
it's hard. Now it doesn't exist. So for this team, they need to be able to hit fast and early around their key points of CA, Mystic. This game, CA needs to be that go-to early game pressure. Game 2 was him basically locked down mid, not being able to achieve anything, and no ganks were happening through that lane. So he is definitely frustrated by that point and doesn't want to be in a Rise lane. No gank is there.
Oh yeah. But LeBlanc just enables him so much. We could see the poke and harass that he was landing in Game 1. Once he found Chocho, once he was able to find XX undefended, he was able to do some pretty big work. That said, Korn kept him locked down so casually on that Orianna.
And from the words of Magic, former jungler, is if you can unleash CA, the key to the game, that they can be able to break the game open in the spring split when CA is able to really impact this game. And in the early portion of the game for this last one, it didn't happen. And so putting in a Rise, remember we've seen a lot of games where Rise goes up against the Orianna and you really can't do too much about it. You try to gank the lane. You have to tell, this game, I don't know if I think he had a cleanse. I remember the Orianna did. Fairly certain.
I believe so, yes.
And so for a cleanse Orianna lane, how do you really deal with that? It's a difficult one.
You gank it over and over and over.
It's either that or nothing at all. There's nothing in between. And so for that one, Kandi decided not to go to the lane. So Shea would want to have something differently. I think this split we've seen him work far better on Talon, LeBlanc, and actually on the Rumble pick when he had Rumble Smite, because he was able to really just push out the lane and get out of there.
Well, TOP find themselves on blue side in this next game as they have side selection and have chosen that blue side. So perhaps we could be seeing some more counter picks out of TOP. We've seen the importance of Rakan rise in the set. That is such an easy engage go button that Team WE were able to use in their Game 1. It was banned away from them in Game 2, but now TOP find themselves on blue side. Could try to utilize that ban to unlock one of the 3 that have been locked down over the course of the series.
Yeah, and you know Cat. Cat's gonna call for it. Both supports want the pick. It's a definite power pick in the meta right now, so being able to have Rakan early, very strong. That's why I actually expect it to be banned on red side. Shouldn't be picked up at all. If it is allowed from the bans forward, then blue side should pick it up. Wonder what TOP is going to decide to do.
Well, we've got down to that final ban. It's actually TOP first banning it blue side and taking away Xie's LeBlanc.
I think the Varus is a definite pickup here for TOP. They've decided that it worked so well for Chocho last game. It's very safe, doesn't show anything for their composition. Mystic didn't have an answer to it. I guess they're going to go with Gragas. I wonder what WE now go for.
Well, that Yasuo is open again for Corrin. He's had some spectacular carry performances on the champion before, and the LeBlanc is banned away, so TOP could be setting up for the Wombo combo, looking for the Corrin carry in Game 3. But again, that Swain, Talia, Aatrox still banned away, but that means that Ezreal goes through.
And to your point, like that, because a lot of times when teams find themselves on blue side, this showcases, remember, TOP double blue means that they could just go back to their last strategy and really only fine-tune the Ahri if Chocho is not comfortable with it. So, yeah, I agree. I think Yasuo is going to be a pickup here for TOP. Maybe even have the Alistar to follow through. So, Yasuo, Alistar, possible, unless if missing takes it away.
Already the bottom lane of WE is being prioritized. The Alistar was picked away by TOP in that Game 1, and there's the very early Vladimir rotation to cover it out. And like you said, maybe not the Ahri, maybe perhaps something a bit more standard, as the Vladimir is the champion of choice for Chocho bottom. And again, we get a chance to see Corrin back on that Yasuo.
It's a safer mage pick, definitely, as the raw damage and safety that you're looking for post 6. So for TOP, that's your band-aid solution there. Chocho should be comfortable there. I mean, it could technically still be Moyu and Corrin's pick, so you still have to have that question mark. But that being said, makes a lot of sense for Corrin to be on the Yasuo pick, and now questions to be on what Moyu picks up for himself on second base.
Now we're still seeing a massive tank out of Cho'Gath, 4957. It's still so tough to work through his health if he manages to get into the late game. So already WE are setting themselves up with an effective counter to the champion pool of TOP, the expected Wombo combo Yasuo Vladimir, and that does mean that TOP, though, get the chance to start banning away some of Xie's pool as the Lissandra is stripped away.
And I wonder what that pick would be. I mean Xie could just go for another Rise game. Orianna would make some sense. Remember, he has to combat the Yasuo in this pickup, and Rise would do very well versus it. So it makes sense in this instance to go for it. Now for TOP, I mean, for them, Cat still has his go-to pick, and he's been a hard engage player who's been confident in his champion pool. He's gone towards Leona in the past, so while he doesn't have the Rakan because he's banned it out for himself with that confidence, and Alistar being picked up by the enemy team, wonder what his solution is here.
Now we've called Cat the masochist before, considering his propensity to all in. Yep, he's like Road. He's the Wanderer. He goes to places that can provide him pain.
That's true.
Because he's not afraid to all in. So we'll see what champion he ends up on, because right now Kled is the look at, and that's one heck of an all-in champion for TOP.
I like that masochist kind of ideal, because Pyke has been his go-to support sometimes, and he really just wants to skirmish. He wants to fight. And so picking up Shen could be his pick. Depends on where Gragas goes, because, well, actually, no, Gragas should just be jungle. So it's a Shen, Vladimir bottom lane. Vladimir should feel fairly safe in the early game. Cat wants to help out the Yasuo mid lane. He wants to help out top lane just a little bit, now that he knows that there's a dive potential of Yasuo and Kled. That's what Cat's idea is, and I think that's a viable strategy.
Now again, looks like we're seeing a counter composition from Team WE. Unbreakable Will for damage reduction, plus the headbutt to knock people away. You've got yourself a Cho'Gath who's just naturally difficult to kill. Ezreal with Arcane Shift to back away. Lamb's Respite from Condi if he ever gets caught out. And then a Galio with Shield of Durand and the Hero's Entrance. Pretty much every single champion on Team WE have some way to try and survive the inevitable Wombo 5-man dog pile of TOP.
The definite sword versus shield. TOP right now wants to jump in. WE trying to shoot in there now. I feel like WE throughout the split have tried to go towards these protective compositions, so when they get in team fights, they may not be the first ones throwing the punch, but they will be the ones that outlast you. They have the damage in the back half of those fights with the Ezreal and Kindred, but does make a question that they have to play together as a group. The Galio has to be able to protect their main squadron. This front, I think the Alistar is great. If they didn't have the Alistar, the Galio would be very awkward.
Yeah.
Because Kindred could die immediately, or she would throw up her ulti, and it would just be a very janky way to use that Galio engage, or even defense. The Alistar is where you find your point of strength. If he can engage and Galio follows up, the rest of it's reactive.
I mean, Missing has done the same thing on Rakan. We've also seen him on the Alistar before, but it's about how the two go together. Will it be WE walking forward and looking for the picks to deny the dog pile? Or will it be WE playing back, playing defensive like they did in Game 2, suffering that defeat, and now bringing us to this Game 3?
I just wonder. It's just wonder because TOP, once they've got the momentum of the last game at the very least, they're feeling riled up, picking a much more aggressive composition. Once you ping 6, take a look at Cat. He's going to be communicating to his lanes to see if they can just jump in. For me, 957 is the point of target. He's going to be the one that is going to get dived so frequently this game.
We'll absolutely see if that's the case as we load onto the Rift for this Game 3 between TOP and Team WE. One final time, let's hear from the crowd. That guy's holding a WE Thunderstick, and he was saying Jio for TOP.
Hey man, it was probably free. I can respect the hustle. The hustle's what's important in life. If someone's gonna give you something for free,
don't blame the player.
Yeah.
Blame the Thunderstick. That age-old adage.
Yes.
Yeah. I know it. But now we've loaded onto the Rift, and we are seeing Mystic take that Kleptomancy Sorcery Ezreal. Could be looking at the double tier, knowing that he does have the Galio Cho'Gath front line, and of course that Lamb's Respite to try and stall things out and deny fights. But all eyes should be on XX and Condi, how they maneuver around the map, how they set up. Though we should absolutely look at this as well. Mystic is there, Mystic walks up, and worth.
No bag of gold. Wait a minute, that's rigged. I always get those golds early on in the game. The first Q always nets it.
Look at that, Condi's actually heading top for level 2 cheese gank. While you stepping forward. Hasn't got his joust yet. 957 is there as he starts clearing out the wave, and Condi looking for it. Just trying to get some harass. Forces Moyu to walk away from the minions. So already starting to affect the lanes more than he did in Game 1.
Yeah, not much getting off of that one. So for him, at the very least, knowing that he's now trading sides with XX, wants to be out on the map faster, ducking into the bush was the right decision from Moyu. So Moyu can just sit in lane. He knows that he's going to be dealing with two people topside. He's going to be playing passively well. Now it's just going to be chasing the experience for Condi.
Look at the 50-50 of that. XX takes the marked Scuttle Crab, and Condi will take away the blue buff of XX on the other side of the map. So let's see if XX has the presence of mind to try to steal away the blue buff so that he doesn't get triple buffed this early on.
Should be easy for him. Remember that
he's on the wolves.
He has Yasuo just pushing up alongside, so he has the easy lanes. The only worry is if Alistar leaves, but that should just be communicated. That's why he's just going for the full clear. Sure, Kindred's doing the same, but that's a little bit risky for Kindred, knowing that Korn pushing up can actually easily make the decision to back away. So that's a call that's being made, but both of them are getting the exact same farm. Well, actually, Wolf Camp is still up. He didn't even touch Wolf.
Or he didn't finish Wolf.
Oh yeah, it's possible actually, you're right. I was wondering. The observer's not catching it out. Could be right.
Just leaving some gold, yeah.
Yes, leaving the experience should be good. It challenges XX once he finds that Wolf Camp to be a lot more aggressive so he doesn't fall behind in that.
It also wastes a lot of time of XX if that camp is still there and he decides to clear it. Scryer's Bloom spots out Mystic, and Missing just denies more vision on this side of the map. And WE's bottom lane is stuck just farming under the wave. Already Mystic is starting to pay things off as Korn. We'll see the early teleport out of Xie, Dark Seal as his standard along with the refillable. So Xie is just catching minions against this Yasuo. Though he is down 10 CS at the end of this wave, it will be 7 if he gets all 3 of these.
It's a pretty rough lane for a Galio. I think for Galio, the one thing he's looking for is if Condi can gank the lane, then of course you want to channel your W so you can get a flash taunt across. Only worry is that Cleanse being picked up by Korn recognizes that he's dealing with a melee matchup, and if that ever does end up happening, Cleanse flashes away. So Korn should still feel safe in this lane. That's why he's pressing up so quickly. So it's just going to be a rough laning phase for Xie.
I mean, we're even seeing again the Cleanse So perhaps looking for the outplays. We'll keep our eye on whether or not he's able to find one later on, because so far it's just a standard farm in that mid lane as Corn just keeps on pushing wave after wave. This is one of those drumsticks as they go sideways. Gotta hate the path of those, especially when you're Yasuo. Aha, a wind wall right in the middle. What? It went around the sides.
Yep.
He just boomeranged some buckets of nuggets. As Mystic gets a trade onto Cat and Chocho. They do have a ward in the river that spots out Condi. No slows applied just yet. There's the mounting dread onto Cat. They're starting to stack up. Second auto attack. Cat's low, but he walks back. XX with the counter gank. Body slam. Mystic goes in. Gets the knock up. Ignite. First blood. Mystic says, happy to see you. As he walks it away, it's 1 for 1. Even Corn is down here. What's he doing?
Good trade. I think he's just trying to push up so Mystic and Condi can't get themselves a good base. Remember, Mystic doesn't have any mana. Teleport on Chocho, so keeping them in lane is going to be important.
I think he's trying to chase Condi away from the Scuttlecraft because it did just spawn and it is marked. Now, with both of those teleports dying, we can see the Mobies first out of Missing to make his way back onto the map, but it's a little bit too late, and TOP are able to take that Scuttlecraft once again. And here's XX on the counter game.
So remember, Chocho, even though he didn't have flash, wasn't the target. It's nice to see Missing being able to answer on back there, but that's a... I guess they're gonna love it.
The oh no's from the crowd. Oh
Look,
no.
that was nice. I mean, that was great. That was fun to watch. WE, while the fans are excited, not too good of a setting for them.
Yeah.
Mystic's coming back in the lane now, while the teleport, I guess it wasn't exhausted by Chocho. I guess he just walked through the lane, so it wasn't nearly as bad, but he has a CS advantage, a very clear one for Vladimir.
Yeah.
So across the board, WE are in a deficit that they need to try and reclaim.
Already 500 gold advantage as Moyu goes all in on 957. Flash is ready, but XX walks through the wind, and look at the electrocute damage.
That's rough, dude. I mean, look, both of them have the damage in the lane. That's what's rough with Gragas ganking your lane. A lot of it's not just, oh, you know, I'm a tanky jungler with some CC. I'm going to provide the sustain.
Crowd control, so
no, he goes
like
runic echoes,
no, yeah.
and he starts with the electrocute. So, I mean, he's dealing a lot as well.
Already things looking good for TOP as XX is the one who's able to affect his lanes a little bit more than Condi. That is getting 700 gold now for TOP off of that, and it was funny, just before that happened, you mentioned all of the lanes were not looking great for WE. Bottom lane was an advantage for Chocho and CS.
Yeah.
Mid lane was an advantage for Corn and CS. The only lane that was even was Moyu and 957. And now Moyu has himself an assist and a CS lead. So now your statement is correct, Raz.
It's Kled versus Cho'Gath. Even still, that's just a tough lane regardless. And that was a wave pushing into Kled as well.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit more. And in that instance, yeah, you're right.
Bad.
It's definitely snowballed into him a little bit harder. We were saying that it was 957 who was the target post 6 for a lot of these dives. It wasn't a dive in that instance since he was pushing through.
Didn't need to be a dive, yeah.
Now it's just going to be that much harder. Thankfully, there's that ultimate insurance policy from Xie. That he could just save the dive when it does end up happening. You just need a little bit more protection, like Conde needs to be there as well in those 3v3 situations. We'll have to see them work together.
We finally see him level 7 now with that hero's entrance. He's hovering towards the bottom side, but it is so tough to kill that Vladimir. He just drops into the tides of blood and walks away. Or ripples away, I guess? When you're a puddle on the ground, what's your mode of transportation?
Good question. Blubs away.
Blubs away, that's a good one. Much like a starfish. Now Condi will finally be able to get himself his first mark, as XX has been so on point controlling those Scuttlecrafts, even hovering top to keep 957 unsafe and denying even more vision. That does mean that Condi will turn onto this Mountain Dragon. XX is still hanging out up top, but he's on top of a ward right now. If any of the lanes are able to get counter push, actually Corn is going top.
Yeah, Corn's going top, Cho'Gath is immediately backing away, and while that's a proper decision from 957, means that that top lane tower is another point of target. So I like this from TOP. Sure, you lose the first dragon, but if WE are losing this portion of the game, so wait a minute, they're getting dived. What's happening?
Oh,
hello? No
cask used. Okay. The cameraman was just as surprised as we are. He's not going to do anything. He's going to, he's doing something.
But that dragon, though. But yeah, like, this is a problem for 957, that he's going to lose this tower. So even though he's at a really strong HP potion, here we go.
There's the charge. That's the body slam. 957 has no flash. They're chasing it down. Even Corn is trying to get in there. and XX secures the kill.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the dive you were talking about.
It was going to happen. At that point, I thought 957 was okay. I was like, you know what, you can get out of that situation. Oh, he's sticking by the tower. And honestly, what do you even do? Yasuo has not even been laning for the past minute. He's just been sitting in the jungle, trying to figure out if he's, if he's pushing to go top.
Am I going to dive top, or do I just take the Raptors?
Mid.
Why not both?
And that's a good place for him to sit because he can choose either. So he can just come back mid to clear the wave, and then go back in between, so he can then have a faster rotation top lane.
Mo, he wants the solo gold. There he goes, denying every single minion he can.
What's the purpose of clearing the wave? You just let it deny, I guess, for the gold. But anyways, as the dive comes across, Yasuo is not even necessary. I think he still gets the assist as he comes in.
Yes, he does.
There we go. So, well done all around. But back to my criticism top lane, you denied the entire gold top, but now by pushing the wave, Cho'Gath is going to get it safely near his tower. The only way this is good is if Moyu uses lead to go bottom lane for a dive, and then force 957 and make his TP happen.
He's got teleport, and that charge is almost halfway off of the cooldown. XX is on the top side of the map, and we've seen some very early Rift Herald takes from TOP over the course of the series.
That's true.
So perhaps they could try to play off of that instead by keeping the wave pushed in. They keep 957 away from it, but there's the body slam knock up onto Xie. Stand united as well as Moyu's trying to chase. Still no charge just yet. As Cat joins in with that stand united. And WE are forced to back off.
A weird call from WE to look for the fight. The only thing that made it difficult for TOP to start it up was that Moyu didn't have his ulti because he had used it in the earlier dive. But it's getting close. He's going to have it soon. WE understand the cooldown of that, and even though it's heavily warded, the Rift Herald has to go away. Cho'Gath isn't going to help.
Condi has Flash, Lamb's Respite. He's currently taking his Raptor camp, says, whoa, Korn gets headbutt knocked in. And that's a bit of a mistake. Overextends and gives over a kill back to WE while his team takes the Rift Herald.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the backbone, Korn, so they could get this one freely, but now someone else is going to risk their life for this.
That's one joust of Flash over the wall, and a Blast Cone to get to safety. Minor mistake costing TOP quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been free throughout. Ultimately, I think that was perhaps a Flash taunt. I wanted to see how that started off. I guess we're going to get the chance to see it. Oh, is Alistar behind?
Gets behind him.
What?
Surprise, Cow!
Yeah, you know what? I feel you. Korn, like, what the hell's happening?
How did he get there?
Question mark ping your bottom lane till you can't do it no more.
I think that's how he got his name. Because he was missing.
Ah, there we go.
We do see JoJo getting the chance to push into Mystic in the bottom lane. Spellbinder's first as 957 is looking for a gank top along with Condi, but empowered recall for Moyu means he's back to safety.
They must be surprised that Moyu is the one that picked up the Rift Herald. Usually the junglers.
They saw him pick it up.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, they're trying.
Because they were chasing down the kill. Sure, they certainly are.
Should still be the jungler that picks it up.
Says the jungle main.
Yep.
Just ask Goembi what he thinks about it.
Always pick it up.
Whoever's closest. Now TOP, they're trying to convert some of this lane pressure into more advantages. They've got that Rift Herald, and it was just used, I believe. Yeah, Moyu's going to use it mid lane as Xie was taking the Wolf Camp. XX here along with Korn. They're trying to unlock their lanes even more.
Gonna need a bit more auto attacks. Not gonna be able to clear it out alone. But then it should be moving on to the inner tower. No one's actually defending it. It's just Xie. But I guess TOP are gonna move away from it. They could have doubled down.
Just moving on up for TOP. As they get half health on the mid-tier 2, taking again the top tier 1. This is an efficient macro rotation in both top and mid. And another defensive teleport from 957. He's got a control ward in the river, but nothing on his side of the jungle. So he sees TOP go missing. Turns out they were just taking the Raptor camp, and 957 panics and says, book it!
Look, he has been conditioned this game. People have been targeting him throughout this entire time. For them to randomly not to be targeting him now, he's like, wait a minute. He's going to look back at this and then have cake on his face.
Yeah, and this is the mental game that TOP are playing over the course of this series. 957, Worlds semi-finalist, has been conditioned by Moyu.
I mean, no, he's been conditioned by the enemy team. Everyone.
TOP, sure. Yeah.
Korn has been there. XX has been there. That's an open door. They can't lock it.
And that is completely unexpected for this WE roster, to see them struggling so much against TOP.
I mean, have you seen this split? It's definitely expected.
At this point now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so tough, Rez. It's so tough.
You stop thinking about the past. I mean,
I can't forget the past.
WE have been
glory days.
trying to think about the future, and currently the issue is that while 957 has been the mode of defending himself at all times, the rest of the lane, there needs to be some point of attack. I think it should be on Condi being on the Kindred. It's a great matchup versus Gragas. You just needs to be ability to isolate it. Right now,
if you ever can.
Exactly. Hasn't been the case for him. He's been trying to play defensively to his lanes a little bit too much, but at this point, what can you do? You see the Yasuo pushing up so frequently that he has to defend his bottom lane. As you can see, the rotations coming through.
And TOP are looking at that last outer turret with hungry eyes. XX is down there pushing the wave. He pulls Korn aside so that they can take this Ocean Dragon for more sustain. There is a Mia ping from Moyu. He's level 11 with the increased charge range and teleport. If you wanted to head bottom onto the deep control ward and just rush down Mystic and Missing.
I mean, bless him, he can do it. Yes, Titanic. That guy should be free.
Uh-oh. Korn is ready. That's the cask. Immediate knock-up, lock-up.
Oh.
Shield of Durand is ready. They're not getting a lot of damage onto Xie, but they are walking him down the stopwatch. He's still got flash. Teleport is going in as they're chasing onto it. And that's the kill. Even getting the Stand United in there as it's Chocho and Moyu who collapse. It wasn't the tier 1 after all. It was the mid-tier 2. Windwall is missed, but it doesn't matter because the turret's already dead.
You can see the isolation strategy that TOP is doing through mid lane. Galio tried to get out of there, but remember he used his E when he got jumped on, so he needs a clear path to be able to get out of there. Not going to be the case. So isolation's happening. If Kindred's trying to protect his side lanes, bottom lane, mid lane gets completely pushed in by Yasuo. Gragas comes in. What can you do? So sure, you could say the getaway strategy is for the Lambda Spite, but he can never be on top of the team because it feels like TOP is always moving to the next target.
Yeah, it's so difficult. There are so many times that we say, what can you do? Well, place wards. See where XX is going, defend and back away. But like you said, TOP, they are moving so quickly from one objective to the next, one turret to the last. They took, what was it, 4 turrets off of a single rotation in that game too, that WE are floundering against this non-stop pressure and movement.
With how fast this game is moving along, Mystic, honest tried true pick, is not even close towards getting his Muramana. Take a look at this. You're right about the vision. Not there. Where is Kindred? Bottom lane. So focusing so much on towards defending that lane, nothing happening to be able to, of course, protect mid lane as it's getting pushed in. It's TOP that you should celebrate because they're always moving with the lane, or at least with the wave. This time around, Korn gets the full protection and movement with XX.
Picking up one advantage after the next, just walking it around the map, parading their carries in front of Team WE. Now Chocho, he's still sitting on that Spellbinders. He's got himself a needlessly large rod second, and it looks like Korn is going BF Sword before Sterix. Might be going for the Infinity Edge Rush with how this game is starting to shake out. He's only 20 CS ahead, but if TOP can continue to just play these advantages, that will accelerate them that much more.
Yeah, you can definitely do anything you want with that BF Sword. A GA with how far ahead you are, or the 100% ends up turning that into an Infinity Edge on the crit. So right now, Yasuo can do what he wants. I would say to go for GA just because with how far ahead you are personally and as a composition, do you want to be able to dive a little bit more consistently? 18 minutes of the game is insane. And so you're focused more on the lanes rather than on any objectives. Baron, that doesn't exist. So towers are your primary focus until the 2-minute mark.
Well, it doesn't exist yet.
Yep.
Give it 90 seconds and that big old purple worm will be on the rift. And maybe we get a glimpse of the classic Dan Gaming strategy, considering how TOP have just been moving so effectively from one objective to the next. They've taken all of the outer turrets and the mid-tier 2 is pushed in.
In this case, it's not even a risk. Look, they've completely pushed WE back. It's not a gimmick, it's just them playing well.
Yeah.
So the Baron is going to be free. With how fast they can do it with Yasuo, it's going to be on WE that gets pushed to a corner and will have to fight back. You're right about a second tier, by the way. Mystic has now gone down towards the second one. It's going to be hard for him now going to that point instead of going his Blade of the Rune King, because he doesn't get the immediate 3-item spike. It's going to take a lot longer with the gold that he's now dumped onto the second tier.
Chocho might be trying to bait this bottom lane in. He's sitting inside of the brush. That's True Shot Barrage. Ooh, Mystic Shot misses. But like we said, 40 seconds before that Baron is up. And WE's map is dangerously dark. All of their vision is on the bottom side. You can see a bunch of Neopings now coming out of Team WE. They've got 2 control wards by their blue buff, but that's not a huge priority for Team WE right now when you've got TOP looking at the Baron spawning in 20 seconds, looking at a Cloud Dragon in 100 seconds, looking at those outer tier 2s.
It's just insane. Look at how many waves that are getting pushed out. You ironed out, as you pointed out, all the challenges that are being faced here.
Yeah, the hurdles.
There are a lot of hurdles. There are a lot of problems. And they're not currently the Evo champion.
They're not. It's not looking great.
So with Baron getting spawned up now means that while there's no vision on it on TOP's side, none by WE as well. It should be incredibly easy for TOP to actually move that vision top side, knowing that that Baron is free for the pick. It just needs that one member to clear it out so they know for certain that there's no ward there.
They're actually using this opportunity to split push onto the top tier 2, catching WE in rotation. Moyu is pinging to keep 957 busy as the next wave comes in. Mystic steps up. She is there on the side, but their hard engage is missing with a flash headbutt pulverize.
Yeah, and they use the Gragas Q, slow down anyone that's going to be chasing them down.
Yeah.
Anyone that's going to try for it. Missing, you can see, pretty damn fast with Boots mobility. So maybe if he gets that one primary target. But XX is targeting him. Wait a minute. What are you trying to do?
XX is thinking about the Wombo, but again, the vision is denied. And there's really nothing that WE can do. They are trying to fight over every single ward, as Moyu is just trading with 957. He's real big, he's real tanky. That's even the Righteous Glory to run him down, but a charge used defensively, that could be an opportunity.
Ping's coming through. XX recognized they can go for this fight now.
Now Missing is level 10, uses the Unbreakable Will early. Chocho walks up with that Rabadon's death cap. He doesn't even need to pop the Spellbinders as he kills the support of Team WE fighting over vision.
Yeah, wonder why he's doing that when he knows that Kandi's been shown bottom lane. Trying to force Moyu out. Moyu's like, all right, get out of jail free, use my ultimate to get out of there. But Alistar was so neck deep in the enemy team, easy to cut it off. So right now for TOP, looks like a fun fight here.
Oh, and that's the catch onto Korn. Uses Respite. Chocho even goes in as Kandi flashes over the wall. Hero's entrance as they kite it out, but they've managed to kill Korn. Moyu joins the fight, loses Skarl, but he's doing good damage on the side. Korn gets another kill. That's the massive Hemoplague pop from Chocho. As Moyu chases it, he's looking for a little bit more, gets Skarl back, and Chie will be unable to find this kill. He's running around trying to kite down the low members of Team WE, but just can't do it by himself. One man against the world.
Did you really have to flash? Was that even necessary, Cat? Honestly, man. That was a free kill.
This is a bit of a disrespectful back by Moyu, but the Baron has been started again by TOP. Chocho, XX, and Corner still nice and tanky. Now Missing is running this down, and 957 has Feast. He's got no flash. They need to keep him away from the pit. Baron at 6,000 health, but he's right there at the entrance. Shadow Dash is ready. That's the Rupture knockup. That's the Shadow Dash, but they get another AoE combo, and they manage to get some good damage. Feast is used defensively to find the kill, but the finish goes across. Finally, WE go in. Kandi's over the wall, but the Baron is picked up by TOP.
Very close. In fact, had Cho'Gath played that a little bit slower, could have bought more time for Kandi. He's got Korn here. It's going to be hard because actually I think Kandi might actually lose that fight with how well this is being played. Windwall still available, I believe. Yeah. Actually, just a little bit off the cooldown, 5 seconds. So he could have played that a little bit slower. So that being said, Baron now for TOP, playing that very well when Cho'Gath showed his face.
That Rabadon's coming up huge. Korn finishes off an IE from the end of that fight, but it all starts with the engage onto Kandi.
I love how Korn played this one out. Chases down Kandi a little bit. You can see the wide run he takes. Mystic was doing very well until this happened. Boom. Aww. Taken out of the fight, double kill for Korn, and it ends up being a very quick and easy fight for TOP when WE had that flash of hope with how Mystic was playing it out.
Tried to survive, kiting it around the edges of the fight, but like you said, Korn just doing so much work.
Love how we're getting the full picture of this
absolutely.
one.
And this is the fight onto the Baron as Missing has respawned. 957 didn't die in this fight. Missing tries to set up for his team, but again, it's the 2-man Shadow Dash.
It's about the time wasting that Missing was trying to go for here. Trying to build up time for the Kindred to get over here. You can see Cho'Gath coming in just in case if it gets burnt early, he can come in with a ultimate execute. It's an attempt that he's trying to make. Doesn't have flash, so he has to play it slow, but comes in a little bit too quickly. You can see when Kindred comes in, they've already finished up the Baron. They finished up the Cho'Gath and Baron so quick
Yeah.
Condi couldn't even come here for a possible denial.
Cat sacrificing himself as the wind wall gets consumes the winds of war. And the minion wave pushes up to the inhibitor turret now. They've already broken down the top tier 2. MoU finishes off the last tier 2. It is 6 turrets to 0. And WE are struggling to defend.
Yeah, the items just aren't there at the moment. You can see where Kindred is with her items. Looking for a Phantom Dancer, I believe, or a Renan's. Either way, you can see that it's going to be a long way to get to that point. 2 items. Which is a pretty damn stacked TOP.
Real big. Zeke's Convergence finished off for XX. He's looking for his second tank item. We've got 2 items on MoU, Black Cleaver and Titanic Hydra. Another 2 items on both Korn and Chocho. They are absolutely ready to fight, whereas WE are trying to defend. But even XX is walking up to the turret as Chocho did use his Spellbinders there to try to get away from 957, respecting that Cho'Gath damage.
Yeah, they need someone more other than just the 2 melee brutes of Alistar Cho'Gath. They're going in for this though.
MoU just eating some CC as he's trying to make his way out of this one. Uses charge to run away.
It was important when it turned into wards. If Skarl runs off, then it could have been 957 getting the chomp across. Needed Skarl to run first, so protects it.
And again, this is just a distraction. Korn and XX have worked down the top inhibitor. Now they're getting minions onto the inhibitor itself, as opposed to the turret. Now, WE, they need to draw a line somewhere.
Time's definitely wasting, and nothing's happening bottom lane. Just so hard clearing out the minion wave because Baron buff, Cat, and Chocho just shepherding it forward.
That Baron buff is about to wear off, so at least that's a consolation that WE can take, but the inhib is going down as the Baron buff falls off. Chocho tries to trade Rupture onto MoU.
Meganar. Oh, that's a Shen. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
I just saw the yellow.
I know, me too. I was like, I was so on board with you. He's about to go in.
You've seen way too many Gnar games.
Yeah, exactly.
My God.
Didn't even have the Gnar. There is no Gnar in this game.
Yeah, you know what? Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm drunk. That being said, for Shen, immediately disengages with the Shadow Dance. That's really cool to see how they've been playing this one out, TOP. So much confidence that Korn can push up. The timing is being made across the bottom lane, so it's just difficult for WE to get an engage across. Missing was trying with them and Cho'Gath, but the moment he comes in through, they just back away completely.
TOP have claimed control over the map. With super minions pushing top, they are free to push and siege mid and bottom. There are no other objectives for them to worry about outside of Scuttlecraft apparently for MoU, as he just wants to deny stacks to Condi, who has been slowed down so much. And it was actually the Phantom Dancer second from Condi.
So, I mean, of course, the damage mitigation is powerful. That
wants to survive.
At this point, just doesn't have the damage to follow up very obviously. The brutes of MoU, XX, and Cat will just be scoffing out that damage. Doesn't mean too much to them. At this point in time, you can just take a look at the top lane tower. I mean, it's down now, and the waves are starting to come through with the super minions. So, it makes sense that TOP is starting to pressure forward, closer and closer to the towers in the bot side.
And still, it's XX and Korn, this dynamic duo that have been opening up the map for TOP. They're pushing up to this bottom inhibitor as 957 and the rest of WE are struggling to clear wave after wave as it crashes in. Slowly but surely, though, they are giving up ground as the waves are bouncing between the two. Korn steps up.
You're going in.
Glory missing with a 2-man knockup. There's the hero's entrance to Bounce House onto the front line. They've actually managed to kill XX. Cat goes gold. Chocho tries to kite this. MoU dashing around as best he can, but they've also killed Cat. There's the Lamb's Respite to stall the fight. Chocho heals up a massive amount. Looks for Condi, but he flashes away. Mystic is still firing. MoU dives onto him. He's got the second joust, but loses Skarl mid-dash and will almost certainly die. There he goes. That's the GA popped. And the CC on top of that for another kill. WE defends successfully.
Very well done. Triple knockup. Eliminate 2 of the members TOP side. But I just don't understand why TOP were so close to that 1 point of engage. They only have to worry about Missing. That's all they needed to worry about. Missing gets in there. Headbutt Pulverize, followed up with Cho'Gath Q, followed up with Ultimate from Galio. Enough CC to make it so TOP actually didn't get a real response. 2 of the members were just so low in HP from that alone.
And that's the range we were just talking about. Missing doesn't even need to flash to get in there. 1, 2, 3 knockups in a row.
And all it means is that Cat, 20% HP. comes out, but he's dead at that point. The Greg is completely gone. So it's actually a pretty competitive fight for what is essentially a 3v5. So you can see how far ahead TOP is just based off this one alone. But WE found that one window where they can actually get a counter fight across.
Finding that one opportunity. Again, they've got the Ezreal to scale into late game. That Cho'Gath is getting real big as he is building the Gargoyle Stone Plate next, but Baron has respawned. TOP are back onto the map, but this time WE.
Wow.
Ooh, a lot more emboldened to look for picks. Flash Shadow Dash. They found Condi. He dies before getting the rest of it across as it was on cooldown, and here comes Chocho. He's getting into the narrow choke point, trying to layer that AoE, and WE are falling apart. A double kill for Korn as they chase it forward. 957 goes low, goes Golden to stall it out. Mystic firing, looks for the flank, but doesn't find it. A triple kill for Korn's Yasuo as he's chasing WE back to their base.
Such a small corridor to fight in.
Whoa!
You just see taunt after taunt, a two-man taunt at that. That TP even go? What the heck?
It was going top to the inhibitor.
Ah. Yeah, good thing he called that one off. Now just going towards the Baron, a better call for this one. It's hard to deal with a top lane inhibitor down. A Baron buff now charging to move with mid lane and bottom lane tower. That fight was very difficult for WE to deal with, only going to get harder when TOP is just going to deny it from them.
And that's the Baron picked up 31 minutes. They've already worked down so much at the base of WE, and you mentioned how tough these fights are. Now WE have got to defend again.
Very well played from Cat. Initial taunt gets the kill in towards Condi. Double man taunt with how close this, slow this corridor was. Makes it easy to get the frontliners there. So, you know, Alistar is down. And for 957, Chie and Mystic had to get out of there.
And you hate to see that happen. As Mystic is looking for the flank, Moyu is just so on top of it. Sidesteps to keep his jungler alive. Because, of course, with the jungler alive, you can collapse on the Baron in the back of the fight. TOP are just playing an intelligent, cerebral game against Team WE, using that dog pile composition to pull WE apart across the map.
And what hurts here is now I can start counting Korn as a said bruiser. Phantom Dancer, added it earlier on. GA finished that one, and the Sterix Gauge. He can just come out outright, dive with Galio's ultimate, even if he's in front of like 4 people. If he dies, Guardian Angel to come across. I mean, even before the Guardian Angel procs, Sterix, GA comes back, and by that point, the dive squad's already there with him.
Oh man, assuming that he's there before the dive squad. He's been such good buddies with XX over the course of this game that WE, anytime they see Yasuo, they just have to assume the Gragas is right behind him, ready with the cast.
Definitely.
And that threat alone is keeping WE grouped up. They can never fight 1 versus 1 because it's never going to be just a 1 versus 1. Moyu finishes off the top inhibitor using that threat. And now, with Baron buff still for 2 minutes, TOP are going to start looking at the remaining inhibs.
The CDR is being built by Chocho as well, so the Morello is being completed. At this point, the Vladimir is someone you have to respect. Really close to getting his full items across.
Real big.
So here we go. I mean, here we go from missing, just pushing off Korn.
Oh, but that's the engage into the back. Cass gets Mystic away from the turret. Meanwhile, Moyu going real deep, finding damage onto Condi, forces him back onto the fountain. But that was just the inhibitor. Cask flashed used by XX, and the inhibitor is broken. Korn is looking at the final one as these Baroned up minions are coming in. There's no wave clear just yet because Ezreal is so far away. Mystic cannot step up against the dog pile, and the turret goes down. Still 75 seconds on the Baron. And TOP, they're pushing through multiple lanes.
Yeah, at least two waves that they've been working on. There's one inhibitor left in the bottom side. TOP are going to converge on it. W is doing their best to try and at least push the minions back so they can be in a position to defend it.
They're trying. They are trying real hard. Ooh, he's trying. And now they're looking onto the inhib itself. Moyu steps forward. Cat is pulling Baroned up super minions onto the Nexus turret. WE are giving ground, and TOP are rolling forwards. The inhibitor breaks. There's a single Nexus turret left.
Remember the Alamo. What about the walls of Xi'an? Stand your ground at some point.
That's the wind wall to deny some of these minions. And again, super minions flooding in. Baron still for 25 seconds as another minion wave crashes forward. TOP are split up. They do not want to be caught by any AoE, any knockups or lockups.
They're surrounded.
Korn's on the side. They absolutely are. 957 is trying to defend. He's using himself as a human turret. They group up, flash knockup, but the hero's entrance Corn is in the back. Condi with the late Lamb's respite. Shie goes golden, but he's not in the respite. He's going to go low and goes down. Corn finds the kill. Mystic is already dead, and WE on the fountain are still dying as TOP take the win. And again, XX drops the flag, says WE, you should have surrendered, because they take the series 2-1.
That last fight, waiting on the Galio ulti that never came, knocked out by Corn's Yasuo Q ulti. Damn. Alright, TOP visit invade Xi'an once again, 2-0 in the matchup. Coming back into their conference. Strong start for this interconference play from TOP. For WE, starting to lose hope, trying to face that 4th place spot. It's going to be difficult. Now they got to be fighting for Snake because TOP just leapfrogged over them.
This really is turning into a superhero story for this TOP roster. Could you imagine if they are able to make playoffs after spring split, in which they had a grand total of 3 series wins? And not just make playoffs, but be competitively viable. This is the world we live in.
And it's all off the, let's say if you remember TOP, Seddan Gaming, when they first came into the split, a lot of them fresh faces, of course, bringing in the veterans, had Goong, moving into Corn, picking up, I guess, Marin as the split went on.
Yeah.
So the veteranship being there in the squad during practice, boosting them, I would say, through conversations, performance. The confidence is now there. It's been there. So for TOP, as the split's gone on, nearing the summer playoffs, this team is definitely something you have to be really afraid about. I think right now TOP is a team to watch going into the cross conference, at least going into the road to playoffs.
Yeah.
For TOP, what I have to look forward to is their matchup versus Snake. Immediately, I'm going to say that because, of course, leapfrogging over them. If Snake can take the set, then of course it's going to be a match of who takes the extra bye in that series. And they're close to EDG as well. Remember that. The Western Conference.
Tied.
There we go.
With EDG.
So close. So for this one, points matter, sure. Head-to-heads matter when we get towards week 11.
Yeah.
And so for this team, taking wins as they come is incredibly important, and they're doing a good job at that.
That's an important point to bring up, because yes, TOP with this win technically tie for 2nd, but EDG have the head-to-head. Yes. And EDG are 7-6 right now, so they still have one more game to play to try to tie up with TOP. But again, this is the real hero story for TOP. This is not a team that we expected coming into the summer split to perform. Heck, we didn't even expect them to perform going into cross conference, but suddenly they started picking up these wins and this momentum going forward, and it wasn't with Goong in the mid lane. It wasn't with Marin in the top lane or Lies on his Darius. It's with Moyu, XX, and Corn. And this unexpected synergy between Corn and XX is paying off massive dividends.
Yeah, it's always the question of, like, the saying. You know, if you watch basketball, the 76ers come out and say, trust the process. In fact, JDG is a team that said it in the opening segments every time we come in, saying, trust the process for the team. And it's based off the fact that you look at the faces and you're like, why are you bringing in Moyu instead of Marin? I'm not trusting this. But they're telling their fans to do so, saying the process is what's important, that our practice is what's really working for us. And Moyu, with this team, is working much better in terms of communication. He's a natural aggressive player if you compare him to Lies. And so the communication is there, the play style is there. And you can see in the last game, when they all charge forward, they win against one of the more passive teams. So I was really confident with TOP, and I think going into cross conference, there's definitely more faith there because they were already doing well, picking up 4th place spot coming into this one. And so ownership now, OMG and FPX to see if they can chase them or chase Snake. They have to come in hot, and I think now we're going to see the next set coming up.
We'll absolutely get a chance to see that. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we get ready. OMG versus FPX is going to be starting in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The LPL will be right back.
想要在这里生存下去，必须倾尽所有。